All right, here's something new for me. Federal Premium 22 long rifle, personal defense, punch, flat nose. On the side of the box here, you can see it says 29 grain. And if we get it in focus, it says FN 1070 feet per second muzzle velocity. Now, I was a little confused at this to start with, but here is the bullet cartridge. The bullet itself does have a very flat nose. And when I looked at this, I was like, geez, this looks awfully familiar. And I'll teach you something that a lot of people don't know. Here is a standard Federal value pack blue box. And what most people don't know is 22 long rifle is actually a shorter case than a 22 Stinger, or also these Federal Premium Punch. Here is a case for the Federal value pack, and here's a case for the Federal Punch. Here's an old Stinger and the Stinger case. So when we grab the cases here, might be hard to show, but you can see the case is significantly longer on there. The 22 long rifle comes in at 610, and the Stinger comes in at 701, and the Federal Punch comes in at 702. So they are a little bit longer. What I was confused at is, so a Stinger is 32 grain bullet at 1640 feet per second. Why is this 29 grain bullet using the same case length only 1070? Well, I found this little bit of information on the Federal site, and that's because that 1070 is out of a 2-inch barrel. Now in Canada, you can't have a 2-inch barrel. So it also states on the site that out of a 24-inch barrel, it'll shoot these out at 1650 feet per second, which would be equal to 175 foot-pounds of energy. And the Stinger at 1640 would be equal to 191 foot-pounds of energy with a 32 grain bullet. And this Federal Champion value pack blue box will shoot a 36 grain at 1260 feet per second, working out to 127 foot-pounds of energy. And just for a couple other comparisons, a CCI Mini Mag shoots a 40 grain bullet at 1235 feet per second, creating 135 foot-pounds of energy, and a CCI Velociter will shoot a 40 grain bullet at 1435 feet per second at 183 foot-pounds of energy. So these are quite the little rocket in a 24-inch barrel. One thing I do have to mention though, is I did pull these bullets. These Federal Punch were extremely hard to pull out. And if we can get to focus, come on. There we go. You can see there is quite the bevel or crimp to that case. Made them extremely hard to come out. Whereas the CCI Stinger doesn't have as big a bevel or crimp on the casing, and it did come out a lot easier. And these Federal, so there's a crimp there, but they managed to come out with no trouble at all. I'll show the difference here. Okay, you can see the Federal here. I pulled it out with a collet style puller, and you can see it didn't mangle too bad, and you can see the healed bullet portion very well. Now Stingers came out, but it oblonged the bullet substantially and put quite a few marks in it, so it is obviously a softer lead with a little bit more of a crimp. You can still see the heel on the end of the bullet. And these were my attempts of getting the 29 grain Federal punch out. Now you can see the collet has completely squished the end down, and then I was still left with the healed portion in the back end of the shell, and it still wouldn't come out. I ended up using a pair of pliers and my press, and finally I just grabbed it with the pliers in the press and then pulled it out. And you can see the healed portion on the back there. There's no way of pulling those out and actually keeping the bullet in its original profile. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe and like button, and have a great day.